Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles. This is our NXT show for the week. Let's jump right into it. First match of the night, The Ascension versus Ty Dillinger and Jason Jordan. I liked it. I liked that The Ascension has come back. They're looking strong again. Dillinger and Jordan, I think, are a good team. I think they got some potential. Maybe need to iron out more of what their gimmick is or what their style is going to be. But I think they're going to be someone to be looking forward to in the future. Afterwards, we see Hideo Itami come out. Gets taken out by the Ascension, basically 2-on-1. So, we see a continuation of that story with the Ascension and Itami having beef with each other. So we'll see where that goes from there on. Next up, we have CJ Parker versus Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze picks up a convincing win. A little bit of a strange thing when Mojo Rawley came to the outside, didn't interfere in the match, didn't say anything, didn't challenge anybody, just stood there staring at Tyler Breeze. It was kind of weird, and I understand that they're going to build something because Tyler injured him, but I don't know, it was just strange and odd. I don't think Mojo has the range to pull that off yet. That he can pull off menacing and scary. But who knows? Next up, we have the Vaudevillains versus Buddy Murphy and Wesley Blake. I would say this is my favorite match of the show. I love the Vaudevillains. I love what they do. I think they're interesting. I think they're fun. I think they bring that fun element back into professional wrestling that's needed. I mean, we need teams that are just cool and just fun to have around. Murphy and Blake, like I said before with Dillinger and Jordan, up-and-coming team. We're starting to get a little bit of a sense of what they're about. They're probably going to be the tag division in NXT is so stacked right now. We have the Ascension, we have Jordan and Dillinger, we have the Vaudevillains, we have the Lucha Dragons, Murphy and Blake, we have Kaz and Enzo, the Legionnaires if they're not split up, which they may have been last week. But there's a lot of good tag teams down in NXT. I assume the Ascension's pretty close to being called to the main roster, so maybe that'll clear up some space for others to move up. But there's a little bit of a logjam where you got good tag teams that aren't really getting traction because there's so many other tag teams there that are good. But a good match, like I said, my favorite of the night personally. Next up, we have my favorite women's wrestler, Bayley versus Sasha Banks. Sasha picks up the win. I understand where they're going with this, that they're going to build for Sasha versus Charlotte, but I'm a Bayley fan. I think she has more to bring to the table personally. And I might be in the minority because I see a lot of people like Sasha. But to me, I think Bayley, with the character, with the way the kids respond to her, I like her character myself. Afterwards, we see Becky Lynch come down, turn heel on Bayley, attack her, and leave with Sasha. So maybe we're starting to see a new BFF group with Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. Who knows? Next up, we have Adrian Neville versus Titus O'Neil. Almost the exact same match that Titus had with Sami Zayn. The only difference is that Neville picked up the win at the end, thus making him look better than Sami Zayn. Afterwards, we have Zayn come out and confront Neville. Thought it was okay. I think using guys from the roster like Titus O'Neil it helps a bit with the NXT. I think NXT is starting to be a good enough property on its own that we don't really need these guys to come down, that the guys are establishing themselves there. There's a lot more eyes on it with the WWE Network, but every now and again having a guy like Titus O'Neil or Seth Rollins, who's recently went to NXT, or the Usos, who did just a few months ago as well, kind of helps a little bit to bring more eyes to the product, to give them someone that maybe they could feed off that's been on the main roster, so the guys at NXT can learn from it. Now, coming off of that, we're going to go into our top 5 prospects in NXT. We'll preface this by saying guys like Titus O'Neil, Tyson Kidd, Sin Cara, guys that have been on the main roster and have either come back to NXT for a permanent spot or just there for a few weeks, are not included. This is just strictly the guys that have only been in NXT, save for a few appearances like they did building up to the last special. Number 5, The Ascension. They made it back onto the rankings with a solid showing. They went more back to what they did before they lost the championships. I just kind of think they're stuck in limbo, that they don't know what to do with them. They don't want to put them in the title race because they could be called up at any point, and they don't know where to go with this feud with Itami because they don't want Itami to look weak. But again, they don't want the Ascension to look weak either. So I think they're kind of stuck in limbo, and it's kind of hurting their overall ranking, in my opinion. Number 4, Adrian Neville. I like the guy, I really do. I just think there's better talents on the roster than him. I'm enjoying more of his heel-ish type work. I hope he keeps going in that route. I think a cocky heel role, much like Seth Rollins is playing, would do wonders for him. Number 3, Tyler Breeze. A guy whose gimmick fits him absolutely perfectly. The more viciousness he adds, the more we get to see of Tyler. I think it's a great thing. I think he's doing really well. I think, again, most of these guys on this list, all the guys on this list, all the people on this list, I assume will be on the main roster very shortly. Number 2, Hideo Itami. What can you say about the guy? The guy has a magnetism and a charisma that draws you into watching him. One of the best wrestlers in the world, bar none. One of the guys that can absolutely go in the ring. And like I said, he has that it factor that brings you in. And our number 1 guy, possibly the only guy on the roster with more of an it factor than Hideo Itami, Sami Zayn. Who doesn't love Sami Zayn? The guy has everything you need to be a major superstar and a major player in the wrestling business. Like I said, with most of these guys, it's only a matter of time before he's on the main roster, and it's only a matter of time before we see him main eventing SummerSlam or WrestleMania. The guy's got that kind of talent where he could be a transcendent talent and be one of the guys that you remember as a face of his generation. But basically, that's all I have to say on this one. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.